Hey, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi equipment. Speakers, amps, DACs, turntables, interconnects. Should cost more than a really fancy prom dress for your 16-year-old daughter to go to prom with a guy that she doesn't like anymore, but she bought all the stuff, so she's gonna go anyway. And these don't. We got another DIY kit, the CSS Audio Criton. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's release the Criton. Today's sponsor is Robert Burns Cigarillos. They're 5 cents a piece. Well, that can't be right. Says if it's not Robert Burns, it's not the cigarillo. Robert Burns cigarillos. Apparently they're really cheap. A nickel. Okay, the CSS Criton 1TD. There's a couple different versions. The 1TD and the 1TDX. The 1TD comes with 2 crossover options. So does the 1TDX, okay? The standard crossover, all in with the kit, is $549. I wish it was $149. $549, and then you have to buy the flat pack for $145. So all in, it's $694 to get the kit and the flat pack. Okay, just add elbow grease, wood glue. Frequency response. Get this, plus or minus 3 dB, 40 hertz, anechoic. Guess what it is in room? 30 hertz in room. Yeah, we're going to come back to that one later. Okay, this one, very nice. I veneered it with veneer that CSS Audio sent me. Thank you, CSS Audio. They're out of Michigan, Ann Arbor, I believe. It's okay. I'm not a big University of Michigan fan, but that's fine, okay? I don't want to alienate any viewers that may be University of Michigan fans. CSS Audio reached out to me, and I talked to Kerry Ames. He's the gentleman at the helm over there, and no pun intended, but he used to be at the helm of a nuclear submarine. We chit-chatted and found out we had a little bit in common. Was a submarine officer. Nuclear officer. So, anybody that can safely operate a nuclear reactor that's mounted in a tube about the size of a double wide trailer widthwise. It's a lot longer. And then under like hundreds of feet of water, and then be with a bunch of other dudes on a submarine, can probably design a speaker pretty well. Okay. Let's talk about soundstage and imaging. Soundstage and imaging. Brilliant. People Are People by Depeche Mode. It's a new one I haven't listened to for a while. At the beginning, they do the drums, the electronic drums, and then there's from like one speaker to the other. And it's pretty cool. It's like a metallic, kind of like if you put a sword into a case and it's going back and forth. Point is it felt seamless. Okay. One by Metallica off the SNM2 20-year anniversary of SNM1 San Francisco. A lot of fun. That record's awesome. There's stuff going on all over the place. Okay, so when it goes, and then like the symphony comes in, it's like bong, 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 and they're doing the chimes. Ding. Stuff was all over the place. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't listened to that track, I'd recommend listening to it because it's a lot of fun. All right. Also, People Are People. There's a harp at the beginning of the intro, and it just seemed like it was melting up, going up. I don't know. Melting's probably not the right word. It was cool because it felt like it was in 3-dimensional space with me. Okay, I should also tell you that I tested this with the Anthem Integrated 225, the Emotiva A300 using the PT100 as a preamp, and also the Rysong A10 tube amp amplification fire. Okay, let's talk about bass. Bass. This is the best bass I've ever heard on a bookshelf speaker, and for the most part, any speaker. Okay? Why Go by Pearl Jam. The bass line was separated, wonderful, full, and realistic. Lakini's Juice by Live. It's a great song. If you haven't heard that, I'd suggest listening to it. And listen to the 32-second mark when the bass is in the background, kind of way step back, and they're just going in the background. Because I haven't heard that like this before, except through these speakers. Okay, Scentless Apprentice, Nirvana, off the In Utero album. The bass was perfect. Narcissistic Cannibal by Korn. At the 1 minute mark, there is a doo doo. It goes way low. I have never heard a bookshelf speaker dig so low on that song. Frankly, I've never heard a tower speaker. Well, maybe the T2 Plus by Emotiva, which has 2 8-inch woofers. By the way, this has 1 7-inch paper cone woofer. And it's brilliant. All right. So, you may be thinking, well, maybe the bass is boosted, but it's not, because Highway to Hell is super tight and awesome, the bass drum on it. Finally, Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys. No sub needed. No sub needed. This is the cleanest, clearest bass I've ever heard out of any speaker, including the previous review I just did of the GR Research Encore. It is flawless. The bass on this speaker is absolutely flawless and the best I have ever heard out of any speaker before. Talk about mid-range. Mid-range is balanced, wonderful, and nuanced. Nothing compares to you. I almost said Nothing Else Matters, but that's a Metallica song. It's a fine song too. Nothing Compares to You by Chris Cornell. At the 3 minute and 1 second point, there's an acoustic guitar solo. And that guitar with that body and that detail, just the tactile pluck of the string and the reverberation of the body of the guitar itself, I felt like I stuck my head right in there and was looking in the guitar between the strings. And Chris Cornell's hand, God rest his soul. Hello by Adele. Her voice was smoky, yet detailed and full and wonderful. There's a lot of separation with this speaker. There's no smearing. So there is a three-dimensionality, making up words, of this speaker that is unrivaled, really, except for the GR Research XLS Encore. All right. There Will Be Time, Mumford & Sons. Perfect. Electric guitars, like lower electric guitars, like the real, like on Sad But True. Sad But True. Not very good. Anyway, it's visceral. It's palpable. It feels like someone is shaking you by the shoulders when you get a bit of volume. And I'm not talking about a lot of volume here. It is just so thick and it grabs you while still being clear. It's amazing. Shoot to Thrill, AC/DC at the beginning was crunchy, and then it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. Let's talk about treble. Treble, Cymbal Decay, Africa by the Weezer cover. Very good. Long. Actually, I had to turn the page over because I ran out of room on the back, and this is actually the crossover CSS audios. I think this is the 1TD, yeah, 1TDX crossover schematic, okay? Another Way to Die by Jack White off of one of the 007 soundtracks. The piano out of the left speaker at the beginning. Bum, 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 bah. It was great. It was in the room. Felt like it was in the room. Sorry. Center Man by Nina Simone. 16th notes at the beginning were tactile and wonderful and everything. You could hear the stick hitting the hi-hat. And Higher Love by Steve Winwood. The whole intro to that song is just like a bunch of percussion going on. And if you have a decent speaker or headphone, everything starts to separate out. And this was just like the snap of the percussion that on the snare drum and the rim hits, and it was just amazing, just otherworldly amazing. Okay, the treble on this doesn't seem as maybe as airy as the Encore, the GR Research Encore, but it's just as clear. There's just as much clarity. There's just as much depth. It just seems like on the Encore, the treble's a little bit more, I wouldn't say elevated, just a little bit more apparent. But this does not seem rolled off. It is not rolled off. If anything, I feel like there's a rise after about 10, 12, 13K into the time domain, as Ron likes to say. Treble's outstanding. Can you hear that? What are my final thoughts? Final thought on this speaker is that it's pretty much flawless. The visceral nature of the mid-range is startling. I listened to this and I had it on in the background, and it made me jump more than one time. And it was normally just due to the... Like, one of them was on the Lumineers song, and it's when the cello came in. I can't remember what song it was. It was a Lumineers song, and the cello came in, and it was just like, whoa. And the sense of space, and normally I have a sense of space when it's in, like, the treble area and the highs, and the inhales, and the movement of the music stands and instruments and stuff. But on this speaker, the sense of space... I felt like came from the bass and the mid-range. Never experienced that before. This plays every genre of music great. However, when I put on metal, which I have a tendency to listen to a lot, and you got a little volume into this thing, it just grabbed you and threw you into general admission. Right outside the mosh pit, unless you're feeling pretty brave and you want to get in the mosh pit as a 45-year-old man. I don't recommend that. Bass, clarity, texture, tone, heft, presence is the best I've ever heard. It's unrivaled. I've never heard a speaker with the level of bass clarity, tone, perfection, wonderment. I didn't know it existed, and I got a taste of it on the Encore, and with this, I got the full meal, like a buffet in Las Vegas, or anywhere else, really, that you go and you just keep going back, and they give you the big plates there, so you really fill up, but they have more crab legs, and you don't think you can get full on crab legs, but it turns out you can. The speaker's amazing. Amazing. And oh my gosh, everything's great about it. I don't have any complaints about this. Maybe a little bit of top end, maybe it's still great. It's just, I think the bass and mid-range are just so that some may, I don't know, I wouldn't say they'd pick on the top end, but it's still perfect. I mean, there's nothing to complain about unless you like a really lively presentation on top, but I don't want to give the impression that this is not clear and wonderful. It is. I don't know. This speaker is just drop dead awesome. So it's $700 all in for the bass. there is another tweeter you can put in here, and that kit is a little bit more expensive. So if you're wanting more yumminess on the top end, from what they say, although I've listened to both versions and I like them both. Now I need to spend some more time with the upgraded tweeter version, but it's wonderful. The thing about DIY is you can make your speakers look however you want if you have the patience. Now, I put veneer on these. Was it easy? No. Did I do it? Yes. The first time I was able to do it. Watched a couple of videos. You just can't get better. If you're willing to put some effort into it, even if you're willing to have somebody else put it together, I don't think you're going to get a better speaker at the price. Either the Triton, the Criton, or the Encore. In my experience, you don't get a better sound for the price. If you want to support the channel and you like what we're doing here, please subscribe. Please like the video if you like the video. We have a whole bunch of videos, a bunch of speaker reviews, amps, stuff like that, headphones. Also have a Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every week we have patron-only Zooms on Sunday, and we have a patron-only Facebook group, and we get together sometimes and chit-chat on that. All right? Patrons also get a discount if they want me to put together a DIY kit. All right? You can also sign up for Amazon Music HD for free. There's a link in the description. Click on the link, scroll down to the bottom, click Try HD. You get 3 months for free, and I get a couple of dollars. I also have all my test tracks playlists in there, and Satanic Panic, and leg warmers, and all sorts of good stuff. All right? So, don't binge watch Netflix or Hulu or HBO or anything like that. Binge listen through your CSS Critons and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.